Oh, oh yeah, that's a big boy, alright. Yeah. Now look what we got here.
You read the title, you saw the intro. You know what the deal for today already is. So on that note, let's go and remake my favorite Gen 9 competitive strategy Pokemon as Pokemon in the past. So while you'll enjoy the pleasure of witnessing the creation time-lapse, let me describe my favorite new Pokemon strategy as a filthy casual. So here it goes. As you already know, Dondozo and Tatsugiri have abilities that result in Tatsugiri entering Dondozo's mouth and gaining stat boosts in double battles, yet staying as a single Pokemon. So to counteract this, the solution is causing Tatsugiri to faint when entering Dondozo, then being able to send out a Pokemon while keeping the boosts. To play off this, using Flamigo's ability Co-Star can be thrown in to copy Dondozo's stats and go crazy. Speaking of Flamigo, I'll remake it too. Stay tuned for that, but in the meantime, let's see how this fella looks like in 2D. And of course, the Tatsugiri and its colors will appear later on as well.
With that segment out of the way, which I hope you didn't skip of course, let's see how it looks when I add it to the actual game. Let's go! Oh yeah, that's a big boy, alright. Yeah, what can I say? Big lad, big problems, maybe? Not in this case, but yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's pretty good, especially for the first attempt ever, so yeah, cool.
As you see, I finally got a Gen 9 Pokemon in the actual game. Now I don't have it with its ability, and it's a bit scuffed, as you saw, but as long as it ain't clickbait, we're winning, boys! So we covered how Dondozo plays its role in this strat, but let's cover Tatsugiri a bit more. Like I already mentioned, Tatsugiri is used to provide a stat boost to Dondozo, which later on leads to giving boosts also to Flamigo. But how does it initially play out? Well, the battle starts with sending out Tatsugiri and the Pokemon that explodes, most commonly Drifblim, while Tatsugiri uses Endure to survive the explosion and the enemy's attacks. Then the Toxic Orb activates while sending out Dondozo, which leads into it fainting on the next turn when entering Dondozo's mouth. But wait, there's more! Even though the strategy ends there for Tatsugiri, it has other cool things that the other two don't have. Alternate forms, which also have uses.
Now that you saw how the good boy was actually made, let's see how good it actually looks when I add it to the actual game itself. Oh, okay, sure. Now that's probably the first of many Tatsugiris, but the yellow one? Good start. Yeah, yeah, pretty good. Now look what we got here, another Tatsugiri. And for some stupid reason it took quite a lot of time, but here it actually is. And yeah, cute little bugger. I mean, it kinda looks like it has pretty thick eyebrows, but still pretty cool. I mean, goodbye, you're nothing to the ferocious Ledian, but pretty cool, yeah, sure.
I managed to find those two Tatsugiri after a bit, but the charming little pink sushi fish managed to evade me. I'll get you someday, but here's it in my rendition for now. And finally, we have arrived to the bird that's this generation's version of It's Just a Blank, aka something along the lines of Electrode or Vanillux. But that's not what we are here for, so let's go over Flamigo's part of the strategy as advertised. Like mentioned before, we make Tatsugiri faint so that we can keep the boosts, while getting to throw in a separate Pokemon. which in this case is Flamigo, but not just for any reason. Due to it having the ability Co-Star, which copies the allies' stat boosts, when throwing in Flamigo, it gains the double Omni boosts as well for no extra cost, which causes the opposition to stutter in fear. Since we got the strat now fully covered, let's see the fear it can induce in black and white.
Now, of course, for the final but definitely not least Pokemon, Flamigo, I better hope it's you. Oh yeah, don't mind the cry, I didn't figure that part out, but yeah, I mean, it's working. Yeah, it has its, yeah, it's a little bit rough around the edges, but I mean, come on, it's Flamigo. It has its name. It sure moves like a flamingo, so yeah, don't ask how long it took to add it. So at my point, you wouldn't be surprised with this result, which is still good, yes.
Now that's a mighty fine Flamigo, amigo, if I've ever seen one. Probably not the only one, but in my opinion, the 2D sprites mostly makes any Pokemon look much better. Understanding how I made the regular GIFs for the Pokemon themselves is simple enough. Just make them in an art program and done. But when it comes to actually taking and adding them into the game as an actual Pokemon, I wish it was that simple. So let me try to simplify it and showcase it on a basic level. First, find a Pokemon that has similar movement to the Pokemon you're planning to add, since the sprites are split in hard-coded sections, which are coded specifically to move in a distinct manner. For example, let's take Swanna and add all of the pieces that old Flamigo will have. When you're done with that, now to actually adding it. Using a program called Think, I went into the game's files under the surface and searched for the sprite file in the A004 directory. After unpacking and extracting it for a good while, I used the next program called BWSC, in which I opened the folder after ticking the Pokemon box and go to Swanna's national dex number 581, then import the sheet I made before. After that, I close the app to go into the third program, Kiwi DS, in which I create a file with a new sprite in it, and finally go to the last program, Nitro Explorer, to find the A004 directory again and reinsert the new file on top. When all of that is done, I go into the game and check the results. Now, it usually takes longer due to fine-tuning the sprite after seeing the results, but that's pretty much the full process. You only have to unpack and extract the A004 file per ROM hack, so at least it is quicker in the future. Like I promised before, let's put everything together. Not only I went and made a new sprite for Dondozo in Commander Mode form, but I also made separate versions for each Tatsugiri form in its mouth, which resulted in these sprites. So although a bit scuffed for my first true attempt at adding them into the game, I'm happy with being even just slightly successful with the first try. Check out the subscribe button that lit up right now, but otherwise, stay tuned for more.